Hello, my name is Måns. I'm Director of Monetization and Design at Rovio. The best thing with my phone is this. When I get to go to this delete mode and take away apps and games. I get to kill them because they all start to shaking like this, like they're scared, right? They're super scared. All of them are saying like, please, Måns, don't kill me. I'm so young. I never got to see Paris, right? This, of course, makes me feel really, really powerful because I'm this guy. I'm the creator and destroyer. I get to decide who lives and who dies. And this is a very powerful feeling. Normally, I'm a very nice guy. I'm a humble man, a good father, a gentle lover. But in here, I'm a monster. I will kill without hesitation. And this is, of course, very, very enjoyable to anyone, I guess. But even more for me, because usually I'm on the other side of this whole equation. I try to save games. I try to make them not get killed. And most notably this one, so that's what I'm going to talk about today, Angry Birds 2. So I want you to just don't think too much about this. Just remember the first number that pops up in your head. How many Angry Birds games were there before Angry Birds 2? Okay, so you're all wrong. There were 12. Angry Birds Classic, Angry Birds Friends, Angry Birds Space, Angry Birds Star Wars 1 and 2, Angry Birds Rio, Seasons, Angry Birds Stella, Angry Birds Transformers, Angry Birds Epic, Angry Birds Fight, and Angry Birds Go. 12 games. So why did anyone care about this one? Well, first off, it was, of course, the official sequel. It had the 2 in it. That's a big thing. But the second big thing here, and the thing that was a bit of a controversy, I guess, was this, that the slingshot games were now going from premium to free-to-play. And this was a pretty big change because obviously these games had been like the crown jewel of the premium era of mobile games. So this did piss some people off. And this is also why I was later called the guy who ruined Angry Birds at our greatest fan forums. Which is not true, of course. But this is still the story about that. So this is, I guess, something in the middle between a post-mortem and an apology, and just a cry for help. Let's start from the beginning. So this is the Swedish West Coast. It's 2009, and it's a really nice summer, but I'm surprised to find myself bored. Because I'm working as a scriptwriter. I'm writing comedy scripts for television, and that sounds like a fun job, right? I thought so. It's super boring. It's fun to tell a joke. It's fun to laugh at a joke. It's not really fun to just sit by yourself in a little cabin trying to write 400 jokes. So I started procrastinating a lot, and instead of writing all these jokes, I started creating a little game, a little indie game. This game, Traumated. So I started, creating little levels and ended up making something like this. Unfortunately, this game is not around anymore because of iOS updates. I would recommend you to play it otherwise because it was pretty awesome. But forget about that. It's summer, it's 2009, and this is what I'm doing. Meanwhile, in Helsinki, there's a little gaming company called Rovio, and they are just in the middle of production of their 52nd game, which is a game called Birds. And this game is about birds that you throw at buildings and you try to triple the buildings. Okay? Yeah. Let's talk about you for a while. It's December, it's winter, it's 2009. Now, you're walking down a street somewhere in the world. It's a very Dickensy street. There's snow everywhere, and maybe you've just been at the movies. Maybe you saw this movie, or if you're less fortunate, this one. Maybe you're listening to the really new and cool band Black Eyed Peas in your really new and cool iPhone 3GS. I don't know. But you're feeling pretty happy about things, pretty optimistic. America finally has a president that seems to understand what this job is about, and you feel that, the future looks bright. And then something happens. You bump into an old friend, and you literally bump into him because he's walking like this down the street, playing this new game that he shows you. And it's a really cool game. It's called Angry Birds, and you get to try it out. And it's kind of fun. So you download it yourself, and you start playing it. And before long, everyone is playing it. And I do mean everyone. Alison Halligan is playing it. John Hamm is playing it. Dick Cheney is playing it. And even the really, really hot guy from Lost is playing it. So everyone is playing this game. And it's on the top of all the charts. And of course, soon there's also the merch. There are T-shirts. There are hats. There are fleece pyjamases. There are, what do you call this? Cupcakes. Coffee. There's an Angry Birds land in Finland. I don't need to tell you this, you were there. But the Angry Birds are everywhere. This is a big thing. And of course, before long, the first game is followed up by a second one, Angry Birds Seasons, and a third one, Angry Birds Rio, Angry Birds Friends. These games are all very successful. They all, top the lists all over the world. So at the 9th of May 2012, there's a big announcement from the headquarters of Rovio. The Angry Bird games have now reached 1 billion downloads. I was trying to find like an image on the internet to illustrate how much that is, but I couldn't find anything. But it's a lot of zeros, it's a lot. As a comparison, Tetris in all its current forms has, I think, 495 million downloads and purchases. So this is very big. Now, while the Angry Birds are busy, just skyrocketing, taking over the world, my game, Traumated, is busy not doing that. In fact, I'm broke at this time because that didn't go very well. So, lucky for me, Rovio has opened up a couple of new offices, and one of them is in Stockholm. So in July 2012, I get a job at the Rovio office as a game designer. Now, in Stockholm, there's a lot of AAA people. We have a lot of these big AAA studios, and in the Rovio studio in Stockholm, we had a lot of those guys as well. And these guys, of course, can create really cool stuff. They create these amazing worlds, and they were there to take mobile games to the next level. They wanted to increase the production values and make something really new and awesome out of this. So they were like the big guys with the big guns, and then there were me and Steve, the designers, and we were going to work with them on this new Angry Birds game. That wasn't really called, it wasn't called Angry Birds 2 at the time. It was called Angry Birds Big Adventure, and it was a story-driven, tablet-first game about time traveling. Birds traveling through different ages of time, meeting these different kinds of cool pigs and killing them, I guess. So this was the game we were working on, and it was very story-driven. Everything was about story, about the world, about the emotions and all this. And a lot of focus was put on like creating little stories about the pigs in the levels. And while we were working on this, me and Steve felt more and more that like we haven't really found that next level thing with the game. Like it looks really awesome, right? But we were supposed to design the next generation Angry Birds game, and it was really hard to find like the next step there. So we didn't have that much. But the thing with these AAA guys, they are very good at a lot of things, but where they really excel, the thing that they are insanely good at is to just throw together these amazing vertical slices and convince anyone that like we have a plan, this is great, and it's impossible to resist. It looks so good, right? I mean, this is very beautiful. Look at the level design, though. It's maybe not super fun to play, right? But who thinks about that? Like the waterfall is actually moving in the real version, not here. So me and Steve are getting more and more worried because we can also see that this game is now getting some hype internally. Like people start to actually believe in this project, and we feel that maybe we don't really have that much of a game yet. So we're worried. And now, do you remember the scene in The Two Towers when the orcs are just owning the shit out of everyone, and Gandalf appears at the top of the mountain with his white horse and just solves everything? Well, that didn't happen. Instead, Steve resigned, okay? And the game was renamed Angry Birds 2. And also, it was going to be free to play. So now I find myself troubled because this is a lot, especially the free to play part. You see, these other games, Candy Crush or Heyday or Clash of Clans, these kind of games, they are all made like free to play games from the ground up, right? So they work very well like that. Let's look at Angry Birds. So here we have a game where a level designer built a really nice, smart little puzzle level for you, and you have a couple of birds in a set order, and your job is to figure out how to throw these birds in the smartest possible way to, make as much destruction as possible and get 3 stars. It's a very like binary puzzle game in that sense. You want to find the correct solution. So this is a very neat package. Everything is already in there. How do we turn this into free to play? What do we sell? That's a hard one. So we look at the most popular or like the most successful free to play games at the time, which is kind of the same as today. And what seems to make more sense is, of course, to do this, to go the Candy Crush route. Like, it's a very broad game. We have billions of downloads. Let's make this really easy to get into. Now, these games, these match 3 games, they all monetize the same way, basically. They let you buy extra moves when you fail a level. So how do we do that here? It's much harder, right? I mean, first off, the levels are really short. You have a couple of birds. If you throw 1 or 2 birds and you're not happy with the result, you're not going to keep playing the level. You're just going to restart, right? That's how you play the old games. You throw a bird, restart, throw a bird, restart. So we can't really sell any extra moves because you will never even reach that point where you need extra moves. Also, there's really not enough randomness in there. It's obvious that someone built this level with a plan. So if you pay to get more birds, it's just cheating. This is not good. So we give up on this, and now all of a sudden we don't have any successful free-to-play game to steal from. So what to do? Well, let's ask the fans. Not these guys, but the fans on the internet. Although I really like this image. I love these guys, especially the blue guy, because I kind of feel like he's less into this than the other ones. I mean, he likes the game and all that, but like, did we go too far? I don't know. I think it's funny. So anyways, we look at forums on the internet, and we look at what do they actually talk about? What do they seem to want, the people playing these games? And the wish list of the Angry Bird fans looks like this. On 3rd place, we have new birds. And we have a new bird. So that's something, at least. That's good. 2nd place, they want PvP. And they want actual PvP, like real-time PvP, like worms. We have prototyped this, and at least I haven't been able to make this fun. It's super boring, although it seems fun. I mean, it's an obvious idea that I think anyone will think of if you try to come up with something new with Angry Birds. The 1st place, what do you think? No, you don't have to answer, but yeah, they want to build their own levels, which makes sense, of course. You play hundreds of these levels, you want to create them yourself. And now this is nice for us because, wait a minute, this is actually Clash of Clans, right? In Clash of Clans, you build your little village, and that village is actually a level that other people come play when they attack you. So maybe we can do that. Maybe we can make this game the Clash of Clans of Angry Birds, which is actually a pretty fun idea still today, I think, but very hard to do, though. I will show you why. First off, this is a bit of a problem, right? I mean, it seems fun to build a level like this. It's not. It is fun, but it's work. It takes a long time. It's not something you do like playing a game on your smartphone. It's horrible because the physics keep screwing you up all the time. So this is something we need to simplify a lot then. And what we do is we figure out that maybe we can just separate the terrain from the pig buildings, like this. So we have terrains, and then we have lots and lots of towers, pig towers. So every terrain looks different, but they all have these tower slots in them. And in the tower slots, we will be able to put towers, right? So as a player, when you want to create your base, what you do is you pick your favorite terrain. And then after that, we have some kind of system with blueprints or whatever to get cool towers. So you have your towers, you put them in the tower slots, and bam, you just made a level. And then we put some random pigs in there. So this is all fine, but we want this to be the Clash of Clans of Angry Birds. Yeah, something like that. And in Clash of Clans, of course, you start out like this. You have this really humble little village, and then you spend months and maybe years on evolving everything, and it grows into something big and cool. Now, how do you do that with our base here? Maybe it's doable, I don't know, but it looks hard. I don't know how to do it. So we can do this. This part is okay. We can level up your birds for you. So we can have this game where you make the birds stronger and stronger and stronger. But really, how do we counter a level 10 super bird? We don't know how to do that. I mean, we will end up with something like this, and it just doesn't look like a very fun game to play. So what we do is we figure out eventually that maybe we can let you build bigger, like we can let you unlock new rooms, new terrains, and then your base can become bigger and bigger and bigger that way. So you can have maybe up to 5 or maybe even 7 rooms in a row. So that's a way to let you keep leveling up your base. But I don't know, I mean, this just feels, and I think you all feel it, it just doesn't feel awesome. And it wasn't. There were just too many things that didn't really fit, and then time kept ticking. So now it's autumn. It's 2014, and the launch is getting closer. So I'm not feeling all that well at the moment, but finally we're in luck. We're in a lot of luck, actually, because now we start thinking about this again. There's a lot of this back and forth. But now we're really lucky, because remember why we couldn't do the Candy Crush thing in the first place? Well, the levels were short and we didn't have the randomness. Now, wait a minute. We now have tower slots, and we have these long levels where we can put multiple rooms in a row, because we wanted you to be able to expand your base. And all of a sudden, hey, that's a lot of randomness. We can also give you your birds in random order, and then we can just have a terrain and randomize what towers we put into the terrain, and we make a Saga map like this, and bam, we have the Candy Crush of Angry Birds, or so we thought. It's now spring in 2015. Yes, 88 days until launch, and we have a game that is actually fun to play. We are pretty happy that way. But we are also very nervous, or people in the company are very nervous, because like a year ago or so, this game was launched, Angry Birds Go. It was a go-kart game with the birds, and it was also a free-to-play game. And this game got a lot of bad press because there was, I think, specifically one purchase, like one car you could buy for $99, and that really upset a lot of people. So, you know, people were getting worried at Rovio, like we really need to be careful now because they didn't want to upset the fans with this new free-to-play approach. So we were specifically told to not be too like in your face with these in-game purchases, to not be too ugly and pushy with it, not to piss all the fans off. So we tried to not do that too much, and the big launch day came along. And this was a really good launch. We had a lot of really nice featuring, and the first week we had 20 million downloads. But again, not super happy because, well, first off, the game didn't perform that well. We could see really quickly that these weren't the kind of numbers we were hoping for. Also, people seemed to be pissed anyways, even though we tried to not bloat the game with these offer pop-ups. Let me read you a couple of these. OMG, a player can only play for a few minutes. After that, no life. It's just like playing a demo version. Older games are far better. Please download older games instead. 1 star. Too many notifications. The old games were better in every single way. This is just annoying. 1 star. Why did you ruin everything? I hate the live system. Just let me pay once, like in the good old days, you greedy pigs. That's 1 star. So now how did we do that? We don't make a lot of money and we still piss people off. Well, let's look at this. This is a start screen of the old, like the original Angry Birds game. And this is a very clean screen. There's a couple of buttons and it's completely up to you what you want to do, which button you want to tap. Now this is a start screen of Angry Birds 2. You see a difference here? So maybe this is more annoying. I don't know. Do you feel annoyed yet? I know I do. So let's go somewhere nice and talk about this. Maybe we were a bit naive thinking that, you know, the obvious in-app purchases would be the thing that pissed people off. Maybe people are, you know, grown up, they understand that we have to try to make money from games like this, but they actually don't like. I think we all find it annoying with products that has an agenda, products that want something from us, right? I mean, anything, if I don't pay, they're gonna want something. Google, Facebook, there's always an agenda somewhere, they want something, and that is annoying, I think, per definition. So now we had a game that was annoying, but also that maybe didn't really push the monetization that much. This is not good. But as a little experiment, I tried for this presentation to just think, like, how is it possible to make a non-annoying free-to-play version of Angry Birds? Like, it doesn't even have to monetize that well, just not be annoying. I don't know. I tried, and I was thinking, okay, this is old games. You had a couple of chapters, and for each chapter you had a lot of levels. So how do we create a non-annoying free-to-play version of this? Well, I would probably just want to do this. So we give you one chapter for free. It's 40 levels or something like that. And then the rest of the chapters we just say, now you have to pay. You buy a chapter, you know exactly what you get. We gave you one for free, so it's your choice. This is not super annoying, I think. Now, the problem is this. 100 people will maybe finish the first, 100 people will start playing the first chapter. In that case, 10 people will actually finish it. So they reach the second chapter. Now, 2 of these guys will buy chapter 2. That's all good. And you know, one of them will also actually finish that chapter and half of him will, this is where it's just getting silly, but you see my point. Let's forget about that weird guy and instead focus on these guys, because this is where it gets messy. Now, these 8 guys, we managed to get them to download the game, and they played through the whole first chapter, 40 levels. They obviously enjoy the game. They're just not prepared to pay for the next chapter yet. Still, does it make sense to just throw them out of the game, to just say, no, if you don't want to pay for this chapter, you have to leave? That is not very sustainable business. Like, we need to try to do something with these people, because they obviously are interested in the game we have. So then we need to introduce another way to open up these other chapters. So maybe we call it, you pick lock this somehow, so you can unlock them instead. Now the problem is, of course, that these guys are still there. We still want these guys to pay, right? We need their money. So we need to make the optional way of opening a chapter annoying enough so that these 2 green guys won't choose that instead. So it's going to take time. Maybe it's going to take 24 hours, okay? And in that case, okay, a couple of guys now choose to unlock, 3 guys still left, but you see what happened there? One of the green guys still chose to unlock instead of paying. So now we have to make it even more annoying. We have to maybe make it 3. You see where I'm heading with this? It's already a very annoying experience compared to that really clean old one. And I tried here. I tried to be non-annoying. So that is pretty hard. And anyway, let's get back to reality. It's now 10 days after the launch, and we're in Rovio Stockholm office, and we are a bit depressed. And we try to figure out what went wrong and what can we do about this. So what we figure out when we start looking at the data that comes in from how people play this game, what is very obvious is that this is not a casual game at all. Like, it's hard to throw birds compared to Candy Crush or something like that. You tap the screen, they scream divine, and that's a very easy experience. Like, compared to many games that maybe people like us play, yes, this seems like a casual game, but it's really not. So we made a mistake, like how we tried to position this game. And there's also this. Do you remember boring? Because when I was young, boring was still a thing. I could come home from school and realize that it's 40 minutes until MacGyver is on TV. This is going to be boring. There's no way around it, right? That's not a thing anymore. We won the war against boring because there's so many things to do now, so many entertainment things. So that has to be taken into account. So we started looking at time until fun on different games. This is a very subjective thing, but this is how many seconds does it take for me to have fun after I push each of these icons, okay? So we have 24.6 on Candy Crush. We have 36.3 on Clash of Clans. That makes sense. That's a deeper game. It's more of a mid-core game. It can take longer. The problem is that we have 45.1 on Angry Birds 2, and this is not okay. Obviously, like, if the time until fun is longer, there has to be more depth, or you're just screwed. And we don't have a lot of depth because, remember, we tried to create the Candy Crush of Angry Birds. So that was never the plan. So what can we do about this? Sorry, I have to drink. Yeah. Well, we come up with a plan. And the plan is this: turn the cube into a puppy. So the cube is what we have now. It's, it's kind of nice and colorful, the thing you can play around with a little bit, but it's not really something that you will keep thinking about and maybe, think about when you leave it at home, you go to work. You don't think about your cube. We need this to become something else, like a puppy, something you love, something you actually care about. And how to do that? Well, we have one thing that the other casual games don't have, and that is, of course, these characters, the birds. These are characters that, as it will turn out later, you can actually create a blockbuster movie around. this. So now the new idea is that maybe we can pivot the game to be more around the characters. So instead of having this really like linear saga map progression where you just go from one level to the next, then maybe we can do this, upgrade your birds. But remember we did talk about this earlier and when we ran into problems, these problems. We still don't know how to do this. Well, we have had time now to think about this. How do you stop a level 10 superbird? Well, you do it with another level 10 superbird. So instead of making the birds stronger and bigger when you level them up, we just give them score multipliers. We say that a level 2 bird gets twice as much score as a level 1 bird, and a level 3 bird gets 3 times as much. And so it goes. And then we let the players play against each other in this really cool PvP arena that we built. Okay, so this is like 6 months after global launch or something, we release this PvP arena where you can play against other players. We try to make the game very much like, this is your birds, this is my birds, this is what it's about. And this all seems really promising. People seem to really enjoy this, but we still don't make money. Like we're still so far away from our targets, and this is now becoming like troublesome for real. Like it feels like maybe the game is actually in real trouble here. So what to do? Well, as so often, the answer was waiting for me in my daughter's iPad. This is big machines in Swedish, stora maskiner. So my daughters are watching all these really weird TV shows, and this one in particular was their favorite at the time. It's a show about caterpillars, and it's not even a show, it's more small documentaries about really big caterpillars, and there's like a lot of numbers and facts, boring facts, and they just loved it. And I started to get really curious about this, like how the people that make this show, they are not kids, how do they know that my daughters will enjoy this, because I would never have guessed. So I start reading about people that create television for kids, and these people are awesome. I mean, already in like the 70s or something, they came up with this thing called the, what is it called? The, huh? Yes, Sesame Street came up with this, but it's called I don't know what they call it, but basically what they do is they have the new episode and they show it to a couple of kids, and next to the TV they put this slideshow where like every 5th second or something like that, there's going to be a new cool picture like whales and stuff like that. And then they just watch the kids watching the episode, and then they take notes. Every time the kids get bored, they will start watching the slideshow instead. And this is, of course, I mean, this is brilliant. And then it turns out that the guy that came up with this kind of looks like me. So this is obviously a sign from God, right? I mean, me in if I wear the ring for a couple of years. But this is a sign. I need to become him. I need to understand the same way that he understands that he's not creating TV for himself. He's doing it for kids that doesn't function like he does. Then I have to understand the same, because I talk about myself sometimes as a goldfish. I'm not a whale. I'm not a big spender. I don't spend a lot of money in these games. So if I just listen to my guts and I try to do whatever I think seem to make sense, it might make sense in some, in some ways, but like if I also need to make revenue from the game, then maybe I can't really trust my guts, because they are goldfish guts, and we don't make a lot of money from goldfish people. So I realized that I have to just stop trusting my own ideas completely. And I come up with this new workflow, which basically works like this. I stare into the wall until I get an idea, and then I try to kill the idea, because it probably sucks. And if I can't kill the ID myself, then I ask my team members to help me kill the ID. And if they can't kill it either, then then we spec it out and we scale it down as much as possible, and then we add it to the backlog, right? And then go back to staring into the wall. And with this approach, we can start doing things and not just waste time if I'm wrong, right? So basically, like, we had two kind of treasures, two kind of chests in the game, and then we thought that maybe we should have a third one. So we just took the red one and made it a bit bigger and used the same asset and just try it out. A/B test it on the players, and it was a success. Then we did this. This is, of course, a silly example because, come on, how long did it take the artist to draw that chest? But if you keep doing this all the time, if you take everything that is big and scary and turn it into something small and have this MVP approach, it sounds boring to some people because it sounds like we're not going to try to make it awesome. That is not the case. I love to spend time trying to make everything super awesome, but I want to do it after I know that it's actually going to work, that we are actually going to use it in the game. And that is what we started doing now. And this really worked for us. So this made it possible for us to make huge changes to this game. So long after launch, we completely changed the start screen of the game. So from this very linear saga map until this new and annoying start screen that we have now, it's a lot, but it really works. And the saga is still there. It's just one out of many features. But all the focus is on the birds instead. So this is now a completely different game than the game we launched, and people really like it a lot more. It's now a really successful game. It's also like, from a revenue standpoint, we completely beat the shit out of the targets year after year after year because of this. So at the end, we did manage to turn the cube into a puppy, but it is a bit of a weird puppy, right? I mean, if you look at it, most puppies were born puppies, and ours weren't. And that shows sometimes. So, we have to keep improving it, keep working on it, but that's fun. I don't mind doing that at all. So, looking back at this journey, I'm really grateful that I got the chance to work on this game, and I'm really grateful that the journey has been as bumpy as it has, because if we had immediately, succeeded, well, first off, I think it would have been boring. But secondly, because we didn't succeed, we had to leave the comfort zone and start doing really crazy stuff. And I think that we've been able to keep that mindset, even when things has been a lot better later on, and we've been able to keep evolving this game and doing really crazy stuff with it. And it's really fun to work like that. So I'm very happy that I got the chance to do this. I didn't plan for any of this to happen. When I started working at Rovio, I expected that I would just, have a comfortable life, putting blocks on blocks and building these little nice coastal levels. I didn't think that I would end up standing here talking to you about this. But as Woody Allen said, you want to make God laugh, make a plan. Or, as Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Or, to quote anonymous iOS user, can't make plans or use strategy anymore, as the pig towers are completely random and the bird's order is also random as well. The old AB games were really cool, but this is pure crap. I hate it. 1 star. And that's it. Thank you very much. I don't know, do you have any questions? I don't know what time it is. No, that's fine. Oh.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah. How do you measure time until fun?
How do we measure time until fun? Yeah, I mean, again, this is a very subjective metric. So basically, I have a little timer, and then I press the icon, and then I just, when I notice me having fun, and then, it's just that.
Okay. Thanks.
There's no greater science behind it.
Hi, I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about win streaks and how they worked their way into the design process.
Okay, so how did, I'm supposed to repeat these questions. How did win streaks work their way into the process? Well, I mean, we did build the monetization of the game was originally only these extra moves. And then we moved to some other things later on when we went more like light RPG with this. But with the extra moves, of course, that's all about like loss aversion. That works really well. So when we then realized that we can have these streaks on different places in the game, that will incentivize people to. I mean, it's a monetization thing more than anything, I guess. It's the more levels we put in a streak, the more likely people would be to spend if they fail. Then we did experiment with just going too far with this. That's not fun either. Like it should be achievable, of course, but in essence, I mean that's pretty much what that is about, I guess.
So it seems like Rovio putting out so many games almost is like the focus test. And I was wondering if there was maybe a culture where just getting it out there was kind of informing them. But now with the expectation that part 2 had to be good immediately, that there wasn't like a culture of that or an expectation that that's how development worked.
I'm not sure. I wasn't around when all these original games came out, but I mean I think that the expectations were kind of high back then as well, and I don't think that. I mean, actually, I think that they had really high expectations. They put a lot of effort into the releases of these games. Like I think Angry Birds Space, they even put like a plush toy in space and stuff like that. So I mean, it's definitely not anything you do if you just want to experiment around a little bit. Like it is a big bet doing that. In fact, I think that, or I hope that today, when we have more like live games like this, we can do more of the experimental part within the games. So we've just now started releasing, we have like timed events in Angry Birds 2. So we just ran a little jetpack joyride-ish little event with a completely different gameplay where your little hatchling gets to ride around in a jetpack, and we can test that within the games. Like me, I don't know. I'm an optimist, but I hope that maybe in the future we can basically soft launch new games within existing games as just like events, and then we can see what works and what doesn't work, and if it works well enough, then we can actually make a standalone game. But that is not an official strategy or anything. It's just my optimistic mind. Yeah, cool. I don't know. I tend to keep talking until someone interrupts me.
No, that was great. Thanks.
Thanks.
I'd like to ask you about the complexity of the main screen. That the first launch version is very simple. But now I am also playing Angry Birds 2, but it's really quite complicated.
Yes.
And how do you think about it? And then, like, because it's about the funnel issue that user cannot understand what should I do and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at the screen, the start screen today, I don't feel super proud. Like it is a lot. I agree. We're testing all these things, though, and I mean, what we see, for a long time, we tried to shelter the players a lot and not show too many options because we were worried that if we distract them, they're just gonna, I don't know, stop playing the game. We haven't really seen a lot of that, though. I mean, people seem to be able to take this. We do have the little notification things, and they work surprisingly well. We actually had a little incident some time ago where we saw a big drop. People stopped playing the Mighty Eagle Boot Camp, which is a feature that we don't directly monetize or anything, so we didn't see anything in the usual data, but after a while we saw that, wait a minute, something is a bit off here. And then we found a bug that the little jumping exclamation mark was missing from that button, and that had a huge impact. Like that was really surprising to me as well. They really work. They are so annoying that people will always tap them. So if we want you to do something, we just need to put it there, and sooner or later you're going to tap because you want to get rid of the little annoying thing, right?
But like, cause my game, I am also a mobile game producer, and we have same problem. Cause like also my game wasn't that good enough. And at launch, but we fixed it and then added some different system and also user elected. But you know, like the main screen is like went crazy because like we had like bunch of like exclamation marks and stuff. So user cannot understand what should I push because everything is shaking.
Yeah.
So I guess like Angry Birds 2 also has same problem, I guess.
Yes. I mean, I don't understand why you ask me for advice here. You just saw I'm in my start screen.
But you know, cause like, do you have any like thoughts or like plan to fix it or like leave it that way?
Well, I mean, we have hopes and dreams about fixing it. Plans, I don't know. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's yeah. These are the things we wanted to do. It's hard to know what to, and it's also hard to, like, there are some features in the game that maybe I personally would be completely fine with just removing, but then a lot of players like these features, and they are not going to be fine with that. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like a big undertaking, and since we don't see any actual negative results from this, we don't see people churn or anything, then I guess we haven't prioritized this yet, but hopefully we will someday anyway, just because it is annoying. I will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So like you said, there were like a dozen Angry Birds games before Angry Birds 2. So when Angry Birds 2 came out and you made the decision to turn the cube into a puppy, was it ever on the table to kill the cube and buy a new puppy and make Angry Birds 3? Or make Angry Birds, 2, but with Angry Birds Seasons 2 or something,
Well, I mean, not to my knowledge. There might have been plans around, but I mean, obviously we've had a lot of prototypes during the years that we have killed for different reasons. So there has been experiments, but with this particular game, I don't think it was super close to that point where it actually got killed. I think that we still managed to turn it around, like, in time, and the focus of the company was still like, let's try. We had put so much effort into this already, right? So I mean, normally this is a very, I don't know, I mean, it's a luxury. If your game happens to be called Angry Birds 2, then maybe you will get more chances than if it's called, Happy Cows 1 or whatever. So, I mean, in that sense, it would have been like a big loss for Rovio to just kill it. So, so I guess we were hesitant to do that.
Thank you.
Hey, super cool talk. Did you guys see like a switch in the audience as you were, I would say, complexifying the game, adding more features and more, I would say, core gaming feature rather than the first one was more for a very big and accessible. So did you see like more gamers coming to the game? Like is it skewing towards more male-centric games and probably less DAUs than the other ones? Or is it still like very big across the board?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a pretty broad game, but I mean, what we tried to do was to cater for the players. We lost a lot of players very quickly, people that, we realized that we couldn't retain as many players as we thought, and then we tried to figure out how do we cater for the people that seem to enjoy what we have here. So that's kind of what we did, or what we tried to do. We tried to deepen the experience for the people that wanted this game to be what it was, or a deeper experience like that. So in that sense, I guess like the people that we attract now are kind of the same people that chose to stay in the first place. But yeah, I mean, in the beginning we got so many downloads in the beginning, so that crowd was, of course, quite random. I mean, it's called Angry Birds 2. There are a lot of buzz around it. We're going to get a lot of random downloads from people that are maybe not that interested in the long run, while today, maybe, of course, we also have more sophisticated UA today than we had back then, but we get players that are more interested in this game for what it is, I guess. Yeah? Okay. So that's it. Thank you very much.